Welcome. It's 5:34 p.m. on Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. The Tooele City Council and Redevelopment Agency of Tooele City are meeting in a work meeting. This meeting is being held at Tooele City Hall in the council chambers located at 90 North Main Street in Tooele, Utah. We are also streaming this electronically on the Tooele City YouTube channel. We will start with the roll call. Councilwoman Goches.
Present.
Councilman McCall.
Present.
I'm Councilman Brady, and I'm present. Councilman Hanson will be joining us hopefully soon, and same with Councilwoman Manzio. They just running a few minutes late. We'll move on to our third item, which is the mayor's report.
Thank you, Chairman. It seems like it was a lot longer ago, but I looked at the calendar, and it was after the last council meeting that we opened our brand new Smith's Marketplace. It has just been a whirlwind couple of weeks, but I just first want to thank Smith's for reaching out to us and wanting to locate here in Tooele City, and we told them that they would be welcome with open arms, and they were. So the Deseret Peak High School was invited to come down, their cheerleaders and the band, and they were playing and cheering, and we had people everywhere. The wind was blowing that morning, a little bit of rain, and it was a little bit cool, but people were lined up around the building. And Tooele County showed Smiths what we're all about. We have supported them and will continue to support them, grateful for what they do for the community as we talk with their marketing people. They just do so much for communities, and they have already donated to the food bank. And if you were there that morning, you remember when they gave $500 checks to the cheerleaders, one to the cheerleaders, one to the band. They were so impressed that she went back on Monday and gave them each another $500. So, They do a lot of charitable giving. Like I say, the food bank, they don't waste food. They make sure it's donated where people can use it. There's just so many things that they do. So I think you guys have all heard, but this Smith's grand opening on Saturday was the largest grand opening in the United States of any Kroger store. Not just Smith's, but any Kroger store. It was huge. And their first week sales were past all of their records. We just blew it out of the water. And they're still busy. And the best part, I have been to Walmart and I have been to Macy's, and they are just as busy as they were before Smith's came. We were a little surprised. We met some people at the grand opening from Magna, and they said, we don't have a marketplace, we just have a Smith's, so we're coming over here to come to Smith's Marketplace. So we are bringing people from even outside the valley, so we're just grateful and welcome anyone who wants to come and shop in Tooele City. We're just grateful for all of that, so congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Nguyen. We'll move on to our council member reports. We'll start with Councilwoman Goches.
Thank you, Chairman. I was gone last meeting. I attended by phone, but I said I'd give my report at that time. And I attended the National League of Cities and Towns Convention that was held in Salt Lake City. I attended with Dave and Marisa. We learned a lot of good things and met great people. And then we also attended the state night event that was hosted by the Utah League of Cities and Towns, and it was very fun. I also attended the Chamber of Commerce Santa Parade and the Tooele City tree lighting ceremony that was at Veterans Park, and it was really fun to be there with the Downtown Alliance, and they had challenges and contests with a lot of giveaways to our residents. I did miss the Smith's grand opening. I was out of town, but I've since visited the store and welcome Smith's and all the new businesses, and as the mayor said, Smith's is a good community partner, and so we're so lucky to have them in our community. Yesterday I attended Mayor Nguyen's city employee retirement luncheon, and it was really a fun party, and looking forward to the open house that will be held for the public at the Tooele City Police Department, our community room in the new building, and that's on Thursday from 6 to 8.
Today, I attended a meeting at the Capitol with Representative Nicolene Peck and Mayor Wynne. We met with UDOT. I also attended the ribbon cutting for the Microtel Hotel by Wyndham, and it's going to be a nice addition to our community. So we're really grateful for all these good businesses that are coming into our community. They employ a lot of people that are our residents, and so we're happy to have these new business partners. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Hanson.
I attended some of the same things Melody did and some of the others, but the one that stands out to most of me was yesterday, the luncheon with the employees for Mayor Wynne, and she's been busy this last 8 years, and I've been part of some of it, but I've got to tell you, it wore me out listening to how much she got done in this 8 years. So, congratulations, Mayor, and it's been a fun time, and of course, there's always the new adventures for you, but thank you for all you've done, and it is amazing what you've accomplished in your 8 years. So, congratulations. Yeah, that's my report.
Councilman McCall.
I attended most of those things as well, to include that micro hotel ribbon cutting today, which was great. And I echo what Ed said about your going away thing yesterday. That was quite interesting. It was good. And I echo the same thing. A lot has been accomplished in 8 years. We've moved a long ways.
Thank you. I don't really have a lot to add. Just thank you, Mayor Wynne. We appreciate your leadership, and you made a lot of difficult decisions and made the city a better place, so we appreciate that. The Smith's grand opening was awesome. My daughter was able to cheer at that, and it was just so fun to see the kids involved in that and the band. So it's great to have Smith's, and we're going to have a lot more stores coming, and John's doing a great job, and all the staff is. So thank you to everyone. We will move on to a presentation for Tooele MITRE project area. This is presented by Ariana Farber, the Military Installation Development Authority Deputy Director, and she's joining us by Zoom.
Here we go. Thank you so much. I apologize that I have to join today by Zoom. My little boy is singing in his school Christmas program after this, so I'm going to run over to the school and watch it. So I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to this presentation today. As you said, my name is Ariana Farber. I am the Deputy Director of the Military Installation Development Authority, and MIDA is essentially an economic development. We have a purpose to help serve military mission in the state of Utah. So that looks a lot of different ways throughout the state. Some of the ways that we help the military are like the work we've done on Falcon Hill, where we help with development of the Northrop Grumman campus, or we can help with different recreational morale, welfare, and recreational activities up in Wasatch County with our new hotel. So we've got lots of different ways that we have helped the military through facilitating development. As many of you may recall, last year in 2024, we created the National Guard project area. And the National Guard project area has a piece that is adjacent to the Tooele Army Depot base, which is right here. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So as you all know, this is the Tooele Army Depot property on this side. The National Guard project area piece is right here. So this piece, can you see me moving my cursor?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Perfect. So this piece here is the National Guard piece. And last year, when we were amending the project area, or rather creating the project area, I came to Tooele and just said, hey, I want to let you know that we've got a parcel that's right next to your parcel that we're putting into a MIDA project area. And as those discussions were underway, we just discussed with the city of Tooele, you all, and discussions brought about the idea of bringing in this piece that was directly adjacent to our piece. I was just overwhelmed by the amount of support that the city had for the military and They wanted to support us in this development, and we were hopeful that the development would bring something else. Bringing this piece into the project area could spur further development. We didn't know what that would look like, but we talked about it and said, hey, there's always the possibility and potential for something more to come. Many of you, I'm sure, I can't see you, but many of you, I'm sure, were there when we had that great discussion last summer. So we incorporated the Tooele piece that is right here in with the project. So the current MIDA project area is represented in this red boundary line right here. Now, as we've gotten into further discussions, it was brought to our attention at MIDA that really we can't do much more on this parcel until we bring more water assets to the parcel. So we realized that our development really couldn't go much further. But what the National Guard had contemplated on this piece was to put their new armory here. So as we kind of looked at the property, as we kind of started to consider the possibilities, we began discussions with the landowner of the parcel that was adjacent right here, and that is Randy Hunt. And Randy Hunt had some great ideas for ways that we could bring water to this whole piece right here. And then we started to think about how we could incorporate his land into the project area overall and create a deal where everybody could mutually benefit. So the concept of operations would look like this. We have two parcels here. First one would be his parcel that has spreading property from in further up north in the city. And then the second parcel, this would be a phase one in our concept. We would bring this into the project area, and the development on this parcel would help us to capture property tax allocation, which we could then use to help finance this piece here. And financing this piece would look like we would put the armory here. We would bring water assets that Randy would help us to bring in from his personal inventory of water rights. And we, as MIDA, would use our tools for finance to bring that water into the development. So that's what this piece looks like, very high level and very conceptually. As we began discussions with Mayor Wynn and the Mayor-elect Manzione, we decided that we just needed a little bit more time to iron out some of the finer details of the deal, because we like the idea of water to the parcel, but we just needed a little bit more time to say, how could that happen? What exactly were the details of the water rights? How exactly would we do all of that? So MIDA and the city came up with an idea that we would go ahead and create the project area, create the jurisdictional boundary around these two parcels, and we would pull property tax allocation after the first of the year, when we had settled on finer points of the deal. So that's where we are right now. My recommendation to the mayor and to all of you is to go ahead and get this set up at this time, because this represents a tax base that will really help us just get all of the financing bit into place. Once we establish that project area, we can set our tax base year back to 2024, which will allow for the maximum amount of growth. So at this time, all that I'm asking, or all that I'm recommending rather, is that we just establish this boundary, and then we can set the tax base, and then going forward into the new year, we can iron out the rest of the finer points of the deal. But our desired end state for this project is to really help the National Guard get this piece developed and get their armory put here. And also to put more development in for the city's parcel as well. At this time, we're not really able to do that because we just don't have the water to support it. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all for any questions that you might have.
Okay, any questions?
Well, if we're not involving the water in the discussion, then I don't think so.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Oh, we're not talking about the water, we're just talking about doing a boundary, so I don't really have a
Correct,
question,
yeah.
I don't think, about anything.
I think it kind of goes with that, though. So water is what you're after, right, to the South Parcel project? And it sounds like
Correct.
that's
So-
all contingent upon the North Parcel being part of this project area.
Well, that's conceptually what we're thinking is in order to capture the financing piece to get the water to the parcel, we were thinking we would put this in as a phase 1, and then we would be able to help support this phase 2 with the allocation that we captured from phase 1.
What's
Go
the
ahead.
time frame, though, of actually getting water to that South Parcel?
That's also one of the pieces that we're gonna be working out after the new year. It's all kind of like a chicken or the egg type of situation. The faster that we can get this, the faster we can bond for this, the faster that we'll be able to get the water infrastructure put in. And also, I know that there is some purchasing that's going to be happening with some of that water as well, and so that's another piece that will come into play.
Will you need
When
water
those-
for the North Parcel as well, though? With the development, you need...
Yeah, my understanding is that it will not currently use more water than what the Skretting building has used historically. That is their commitment. But we can get all of that under contract as well when we go into the new year. My understanding from what the developer has told me is that it has it uses a system where it reuses water. So what this building has historically used in the past is what committing to water use going forward.
I do have a question. So if the water falls apart and it doesn't come, what then?
We don't have to continue. That's the beauty of it. This is what I explained to Mayor Nguyen, is that there's no consequence. We can create the boundary. The boundary is a 25-year boundary, but it won't do anything. It would be in effect like an empty RDA boundary, that it just exists, but there's no consequence of it.
All right, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is really to establish that base year and all of the details. I intend to come back to this body with more details and a tax sharing agreement that you all can take a look at and vote on to make sure that that's precisely what you want. Associated with this resolution that you will be passing, that you will be considering tonight, is a resolution. So might have met yesterday for our board. We passed a resolution that was contingent on any decision that you all make today on creating this project area. And in that resolution, we talked about how our original interlocal agreement would be amended to include these 2 additional parcels. And that's the extent of what you would be voting on this evening. It's a resolution to incorporate just this parcel and this parcel jurisdictionally to establish a base year, and that base year would be 2024. Subsequently, after this evening, we will work on a tax sharing agreement where we talk about all of the different ways that we kind of divide that property tax allocation and how we work out the timeline for the water and how MIDA will bring that water to the site. But all of that we will talk about in the new year.
So maybe I'm not understanding, why is there an urgency to do this now before we discuss all those other fine details?
Right. So the way that it works per MIDA law we have to create the project area before December 31st. If we don't create the project area before December 31st, we'll lose the base tax year. And what that will effectively do is it will not allow us to get as much tax growth to finance the project. So if we start the base tax year at 2025 rather than at 2024, we'll have less room for growth and we'll be able to capture less of that property tax allocation and for which to finance that water infrastructure. So it basically just sets the clock is what it does by doing it before December 31st.
How much money, though, is the difference between this year versus next year?
Yeah, right. So I had them run just some rudimentary numbers, and it could represent anywhere from $8 to $10 million. Because this is one of the most critical paths to growth. It's setting that clock back as early as possible because that allows you to maximize growth.
So, Mr. Chair, so from my understanding is that we already have an agreement and all we're doing is extending the boundary at this point, at this stage.
Correct. So right now we have an agreement for this parcel here. The agreement that we would be doing would be extending this piece of the agreement. And then the resolution that you are passing or considering passing tonight would be basically that you want MIDA to come in and create this jurisdictional boundary, that you're welcoming us in to the city.
Okay.
Is all of that north parcel, is that all Mr. Hunt's? He owns all that?
Yes, correct.
In other areas where you've done this, because there's already businesses down on that north parcel, does it complement the other industries down there? Does it hinder growth from them? What have you seen in other areas where you've done this?
Yeah, so we have done this. We have an example of this in Wasatch County. So in Wasatch County, we have a hotel that is, we've created we've created a jurisdictional boundary in Wasatch County on private land. That's where our hotel is, and you can see that all of the homes and everything that's within the MIDA project area is just looks like everything else. It's integrated into it, and we have a set of standards and guidelines that ensures that all of the development that happens on those pieces are developed in accordance with federal standards and guidelines. But we also, and this is something that was appealing to the council last year, we also, when we do development, we will create a development review committee where we will have a representative from the city of Tooele who's sitting on that committee and offering recommendations to our board. And our board is very, very sensitive to the desires of what the local governments want. And they will take those local governments' recommendations and consider them very, very deeply. They usually don't pass anything if it doesn't pass. Actually, I've never seen it pass where something was sent back from a development review committee. It usually doesn't even come up to our board if it doesn't pass development review committee standards. So what we contemplate doing and what we discussed last year in terms of developing this parcel here was, before we put anything on the ground, we will have a development review committee where we will have representatives from the city to provide feedback and recommendations for how we develop that in accordance with the rest of the cities and the area, so that it looks like everything else. It blends in. Is that the question?
Yeah, I can't remember I was here last year when we talked about this. I can't remember all the details with the tax sharing. Does MIDA take the sales tax, property tax, or is that all just up for discussion and percentages?
Yes, we can discuss that. Historically, we do it just like a regular sort of RDA. We capture 75% of the property tax and we reinvest it into that project specifically. So that's the way that looks. With the sales tax, yes, we capture we capture that point of sales tax as well. And so that's part of what we can discuss going into the new year, if you would like. As I said to John and to the mayor, we're super open to what your desires are for this area, and happy to consider.
So I think for me, it makes sense on the south parcel because that is an area that is not going to be developed anytime soon, right? There's issues with water, all sorts of things. But on the north parcel, that's an area where we are seeing significant growth. It is on the west side of SR 36, but we have had growth on the east side of SR 36 in this area as well. So my question is, why does it benefit Tooele City to give up 75% of property tax, which I know that's not a lot of our revenue, but sales tax is, so to give up the potential for sales tax and to get a small percentage of the property tax as well? Is it just solely because the water that will eventually come with it?
Well, that would be my recommendation. Like for me, I don't have any other way to bring you water. So if you wanted me to bring you a water infrastructure, and we contemplate doing paying for the water pumps and piping to bring the water to the site, I gotta finance that somehow. And I don't have any money to finance it because we're not a bank. The way that we finance it is we just capture that property tax and we redevelop the area. So having these two things being in the same project area, so think about it like it's one big RDA, right? Having these two things be in the same project area, I can use. And so that was my.
You cut out a little bit, but I think I got the bulk of what you were saying. Go ahead, Melody, if you have a question.
Ms. Farber, is she still talking?
Yeah, we can't hear you very well now. I don't know.
Can you hear me better?
We lost her.
We can hear you, but it's really quiet. It's not, I don't know if it's a connection issue, because I see you moving on your screen. So it doesn't seem connection that way, but your voice is really quiet now.
Can you hear me now?
Just barely. I can hear you asking if I can hear you.
Shoot. Can I try again? Can you hear this? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you enough, I think. I'm hoping everyone online can hear, but.
Did you want further clarification?
No, you can ask your question.
Ms. Farber, I did have a question. This property that is to the north runs parallel to a rail line. Do you have plans to develop a rail spur and an opportunity for that area? Is that going to be included in this project?
She is, but we can't hear her.
Could we just call her on the phone?
Yeah, could we just
John,
call
do
her
you want to
in?
answer that?
Well, we spoke about that yesterday. So she said that it's not something that they've done. You want me to go up there?
Yeah, come up here. Oh, I missed.
So we spoke about that yesterday because there's been a vinyl fence company that we've been in contact with for about a year, and they sent over an estimate of what it would cost to put in a rail spur for that particular stretch of line, and it was about $2.4 million. And to my understanding, when I brought that up to Ariana yesterday, she said that typically they can do certain things on infrastructure, and that could be something that could be looked at to be put into the deal.
But these
Or the
same
contract.
companies that, you say this vinyl company, they've looked at other areas of Tooele as well, correct?
Well, They have, but the timing of having to do a building versus going into one now. Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you'll just have to mute your other on your computer so we don't get the echo. So.
I muted it. Great,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
So what I said, what I was saying was, I don't. So we can absolutely put this. So we can absolutely put the southern part in the project area. The problem is with just putting the southern part in is that I don't have a way to finance any of the water infrastructure. So the way that we finance the water infrastructure is by capturing the property tax from the northern parcel. And that's how we take, so if we think about this like it's a whole project area and not two separate parcels, but one large REA, we can take money from one part and invest it into the other part. And that's why this northern piece is kind of like what triggers everything. Because without that initial capital, we don't have anything to finance this southern piece.
Okay, thank you. I understand that.
Yeah.
Melody,
And so
did you have?
that's my concept for how we can accomplish this goal, collectively, if we want to go this route.
I guess my worry is, will the water actually come? Because I don't know a lot about water. I've learned a lot about water from mostly Paul and his expertise. But I imagine that there's going to be all sorts of petitions when you try to move water from one area to Tooele. Like, you're talking years, if not decades, probably, of this happening, which I know it has to happen at some point, but I'm sure you recognize that as well, too, that this isn't going to be a project that's done quickly, or I don't think it will be. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
No, I don't envision that, and that's not historically what we've done. If you take a look at Falcon Hill, we've been working on developing, and we continue to develop on Falcon Hill. That's been since 2007.
But have you brought water from somewhere else? Is this a new thing that you're doing? I understand you've developed these other areas, but Tooele is very unique in our water situation, which I don't even know if there's somewhere comparable that you've developed to the water situations we have in Tooele. So I'm not worried about you developing the area. I think you can do that, but it's bringing the water from somewhere else. And
yeah, so I'm extremely confident that we can help with this project, and the way that some of these things that we are talking about, I'm happy to address within the context of a more detailed scheme next year. Like I said, this is really for the purpose of establishing this jurisdictional boundary, and we can talk finer details. If it comes, this is the reality. If it comes to it that we can't, that the water can't come, or any number of things, there's absolutely no harm to establishing the jurisdictional boundary today. You're not losing any money. We MIDA can't capture any property tax. We specifically put that into the resolution that you'll be considering this evening.
so it's not being officially annexed in, it's just creating an area.
Correct. We're not capturing any dollars until we pass another resolution.
And we've already created an area. This is just an extension of the boundary.
Right.
But you still
That's
have to
correct.
consider that. Like, I'm thinking, how would I vote on the next resolution that annexes this into MIDA, or whatever the proper terminology is for that?
Well, this is technically a MIDA project area. So the jurisdictional boundary that we are creating would be like, this is the MIDA jurisdiction within the city of Tooele. But nothing would happen as a result of it. Like there would be no negative, we would not be capturing any property tax allocation afterwards.
I have a comment.
Yeah, please.
So in the discussions we've had with MIDA in the last couple of weeks, couple of months, I guess, that was my concern also. And in our last meeting, the mayor even said, I think we're done. with the conversation because we just couldn't answer all of those questions. And so this was the compromise we came up with, because if we just say we're extending the jurisdictional boundaries, it means nothing other than it's a possible area that they can collect tax from. If all these questions don't get answered in the agreement, we vote no and we don't sign the agreement, and the area is just an area that's just like it is now. It's just a MIDA area, but nothing is different than how it is now.
But could it be developed later if, let's say, we approve this resolution, we don't approve
It could
the
still be
next
developed.
privately? How does the jurisdiction turn back over to a private entity, though, when you've already approved a resolution?
Because there's just no tax increment. So it's like the property it's just like an RDA area. It can be an RDA area and be developed, but if there's no increment ever established, then we just collect the taxes like normal. It would be the same as an RDA area.
I guess I don't understand it then, because I don't get how MIDA has jurisdiction, but then if we don't pass the next thing, they've already have jurisdiction over that area. So how do you develop it later when MIDA has jurisdiction, but so a private person's not going to come in and develop it? MIDA has the jurisdiction.
It's Mr. Hunt's property.
So what if he develops it?
So he would be the one that would be developing it. He's
then
going to
MIDA
develop
gets
it
the
right now with
property
MIDA.
tax.
So, I mean, it's the agreement
We
there.
can't touch property tax until we pass another resolution. Right now, MIDA it's a jurisdictional boundary just like an RDA. That's the way it would work. And the way that he continues on with developing the property is exactly the same way that he is developing his property now.
But MIDA gets nothing unless we pass another resolution, even if Mr. Hunt develops it.
Right.
No, yes, he's already developing it. It's all like there's development occurring on that land.
What's developed there right now? Is that the England building or, okay. What other development's happening there? There's the Skretting building?
I've seen that he's renovating that building. He's currently renovating the building.
Because if we were voting on the agreement today, I would vote no. And I told Ariana that basically on our last call.
What worries me is
Because-
why would I vote for something today that I don't know that I'm on board for it?
Because I think that there are a
Next.
lot of questions that have to be answered still, and that's why I would vote no. I think getting the water here would be a huge benefit to Tooele City. It would be worth way more than anything we're collecting right now. But like you, I have those same questions, and I think Paul has those same questions. And so by December 31st, I don't think it's possible to answer any of those questions because the water has to be researched. And I mean, like you, I don't know all the water. That's why we have a city engineer. So I think this is just a way for them to feel comfortable moving forward because there are some agreements with purchase of water by Mr. Hunt that he's not comfortable disclosing or moving forward with if he doesn't know there's a possibility of this being in a MIDA area. So it's like she said, kind of chicken and egg. Like, does he move forward? Does she move forward? Do we move forward? Nobody knows how to move forward unless there's some assurance, I guess, that the conversation will continue.
So maybe you can answer this back to my original question. So if we don't get the water, if water doesn't happen, can we unwind this deal or no? Or MIDA still is in control of the property?
Well, it's like she said, it's an area,
Right.
but it can still be developed and there's no detriment to us.
Okay. So then we can.
Then how's that like an RDA area though? Because if I say that this area will be an RDA area, then I've said right then that the tax will go somewhere else. Isn't that what it is?
No, you have to agree to the tax increment with an RDA. So you can set aside an RDA area. We could say this is an RDA area right now. And then you get benefits of being in an RDA. There are some state benefits, whatever. But until you sign the official tax increment agreement, it's just like a piece of property in an area.
So we would
We
still
don't
collect
collect
property
anything.
tax until we agreed on
Yes.
a
Yes.
tax
Yes.
increment.
Yes.
That's in the resolution. That's
it.
in the language of the resolution that you all are considering tonight.
Because the Broadway area was in an RDA for a long, long time. and we didn't ever implement the tax increment. You know, the school board signed off on it, the county signed off on it, it was in the RDA area all the time, but we never collected any tax increment. It was never filed, nothing ever happened with that. So it could have been developed at any time with no tax increment.
Do you think it halts development, though, when they know it's an RDA area that hasn't had any agreement with it?
There may be, but here, the person who owns the property is the one petitioning this. So
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
They
I
have
mean,
to
it's
pay for-
frustrating a little bit that I don't think we're being told everything by Mr. Hunt, especially. Like, if he knows that there's the option for this water, but I get why we're doing this or want to do this, because then it opens up discussions, but I don't know. I guess
agree.
someone had mentioned that it's the chicken or the egg, and I don't know how I feel about it still, so. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
But ultimately, I want to be very clear that MIDA does not want to do this if you all don't want to do this. MIDA wants to do this because MIDA's goal is to help the military and help the city. And so if you don't feel that there's a benefit to this, then we can just, cease the deal. It's not, and this is not something that I necessarily want to, push from my end.
Well, the only benefit I see to Tooele City is the water being brought here. I'm having a hard time seeing any other benefit for Tooele City. And yeah, it benefits the military greatly, because I think that is an area on the north parcel that is very developable. That was the difference with the south parcel, is we know that nothing's being developed out there. That's reality. But all of our growth is occurring on the north end, and I understand what you're saying. I just don't know if the water's going to be a challenge, and you all know that, and if you don't, then you will know that really soon, so.
Agreed.
I completely understand, and I am absolutely respectful of whatever it is that you decide. My whole point in bringing it up and addressing it is to make sure that you can have the water assets that would help develop this southern piece.
Like, do we even know where the water's being brought from? Like, how many miles are we talking? Because we've been told historically that $1 million a mile, and that was years ago, so it's probably more than that. So, I mean, you'll need tens of millions of dollars to bring water even 20 miles or 30 miles, so, yeah.
No, my understanding is very, that it is a very short, relatively, between 3 and 6 miles of piping that we would need to bring. That's my understanding. I really apologize because I have to hop off now.
Okay.
And I want to continue answering any questions that you might have. Is there anything that I can answer before I have to leave?
No, you've answered my questions, thank you. I think I'm probably the only one that's really having a hard time with it, so.
So
You've convinced enough, maybe. So.
you're not the only one, because we asked the same questions, and I might have thrown my hands up in the air and said, I'm done, until we receive clarification from attorneys. And so the part of the resolution that makes me feel more comfortable is that it says the parties agree that MIDA shall not collect property taxes or other taxes from the additional property until such collection is authorized by resolution or ordinance of the MIDA board, and pursuant to the Interlocal Cooperation Act, this amendment must be authorized by resolution or ordinance of the legislative body of each party. If they can't bring water here, you don't sign a resolution. And you just keep collecting the property tax. The owner keeps improving the property, and you keep collecting that tax, and it just sits there for at least the south end, because nothing can happen until water there. But when we looked at the numbers at what the property tax that we would give up for the north property was a lot less than what it would cost us to bring that water here. But the project does not work for MIDA without that property tax on the north end to bond against to finance the water. That's where we keep saying this chicken and the egg. I mean, if nothing happens and they can't bring that water here, that's the only reason you would even do this,
Right.
is to bring that water here. And if the water doesn't work with Mr. Hunt, we as a city still may be able to work with MIDA to get our water that's farther south to Tooele. They may be able to help us finance it. That's what this is about.
We are willing to do anything to help. That's what I'm basically saying here, to all of you members, to this body. We are here to help. This is what we do. And so I just really want to stress that. I just, you know, so this is a very, very, exactly as the mayor said, the only thing that I'm asking is to establish the base here now so we can capture that capital at the top. And that will help us to finance this project. But yeah, all of those things. And I really sincerely apologize. My project manager is there. Introduce yourself to her and then forward me any questions that you might have. Like I said, just keep me posted. I do have to drop off. Is there any final questions that I can answer before I have to leave?
No, thank
Thank
you
you.
for your time.
Thank you all very much. I do want to thank Mayor Wynn for just being an incredible partner, and best of luck to you in your retirement, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody on the council. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, does the council have anything they want to discuss? It's on the business meeting for a vote, so,
I think it's the same thing, we're just beating up the same
Yeah.
discussion over and over
yeah,
about the water. It started that way and ended that way, so.
yeah. I have lots of opinions, but I'll keep them to myself right now, so. Okay, any other discussion on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 6. I don't think there's anything for a closed meeting. Okay, no closed meeting.
Mr. Chair, before you adjourn, since I missed the council reports, can I just mention one thing?
Please, yes.
From the Planning Commission, I just wanted to let you know that Commissioner Hamilton was elected chair and Commissioner Proctor as vice chair for the upcoming year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will adjourn from our work meeting at 6:22 PM, and we'll reconvene for the business meeting at 7.
You made it.
Terrible. I was supposed to come at 1. It was scary.